Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we are in Belgium at Loosefest at Bikepark Fermi-Liebe, and we're going to do a bit of just talking about how to ride jumps better and improve your jumping skill, confidence and everything in between. So I'm with my good friend Ryan. He's come over from the States to ride at this invite-only event, and as you can see here, we've got some friggin' huge jumps. This video is not just going to be about how to do big jumps, it's more about how to approach jumps in general, how to improve your jumping skill. So we're going to just take a look down the course and just walk through all the features and just general chit chat about like how we would approach these jumps from like a mindset perspective, bike setup and everything in between. So this is kind of the first big feature on this track. Ryan's still on the lip there at the top now, and this is like a kind of curved step down jump, which is almost a setup jump for the big line. We've both ridden this jump. We had a bit of a session last night, but how would you approach this, Ryan? Like, if you've never ridden a feature before, like how would you approach it for a rider? What did we do?
The first thing I would do would be making sure my bike is even, right? I'm really big on that, and that my suspension is firm enough to absorb big impacts, but the rebound is slow enough to kind of dampen your landing so you don't kind of bounce out of control. A lot of experienced rider input. I love listening to the other riders who have ridden this a lot. The ones who are making it look really clean and can articulate really well, I love listening to that stuff.
All right, so I just walked up to meet Ryan. So we've got these corners coming in here with real steep ass berms. And you can see here the scale. There's a bike here and you can just see how big and groomed this thing is. This is like, I don't know how big is that from here?
Maybe from the part of the lip where you jump off. Meters, I'm not gonna say, but I'm gonna say in the mid to high 30s.
Yeah.
In feet. Down here below the first shark fin step down and into the first double. Backpack man.
Oh my God, it's Backpack Man.
Something that's super wild is the bigger the jump, the smaller the variables a lot of times. So for instance, there's two lips after this first double. There's a right lip, a bigger, poppier lip, and then a left lip, like the main line. And it's just wild. The entrance that other riders are taking by 2 feet sets you up in vastly different trajectories on the landing. So I'm learning this myself continually with this type of riding. Little differences make a big overall result. Yeah, when it comes to new things, especially for me and big, massive jumps like this, I like to look at it from all different angles. You know, I'm trying to get my mind to wrap around the physics and not let like a fear kind of dictate reality. Looking at it from this angle, it looks like a wall, especially when you're hitting it at, I don't know, 40 miles an hour or whatever we're hitting it at. But you know, it's good to come over to the side and just really see your jump. Now, if we check this thing out, of course, this is a Nico Vink jump. That's a beautiful transition, and looking at it from the front, it doesn't look like that. And I'd also find myself standing here watching other riders who have hit this and looking at the physics with such a big gap. It just helps inspire the confidence and trying to override like a true mind over matter situation, right? How to ride this confidently and centered.
All right, so I'm now stood on the landing of this first jump. I'm quite a way away from Ryan. This is like roughly about 25 meters, I think. When I like to look at new jumps or new features, regardless of the size, I like to look at the jump from as many possible angles as I can. I'm trying to rule out every bit of uncertainty out of my brain. So I kind of can visualize myself, like what it's gonna feel like when I go off this takeoff and know exactly what to do in the air. I found in the past, if I don't do that, you end up riding jumps stiff, out of like body position, out of control, and that's what we don't want to do. So I like to look at things from all different angles. I'll look at it from the takeoff, from the side, look at the takeoff, like actual angle of the takeoff, look what the landing's going to feel like, where I want to be positioned to land, and take everything from there. So the good thing about where we are in Belgium here, we've obviously got this bigger jump line, which we're working on, but also there's so many other trails in the bike park. So if you are looking at riding a new feature, one thing I would strongly suggest is to make sure you warm up, like get comfortable on things that you know you can quite comfortably ride, to build that confidence, that initial confidence before you go and try something new. Don't just turn up at a spot and go and jump into the feature you want to try, because you want to get warmed up, you want to get a feel for your bike, you want to get in the right headspace. And a place like this has got so many different tracks. It's so good to warm up on those before you move on to some of these bigger features, or whatever that feature looks like for you. So you've looked at the jump now, and now it's your first time you're going to hit a new feature. When I was coming to this first time, I was fairly confident. I knew what I was going to feel like in the air, how my bike was going to react, and everything in between. Sure, there's still like that level of uncertainty until you do it, until your brain connects the dots, but I was fairly confident in my riding skill, bike setup and everything. So I had all my bases covered. I had like all the boxes ticked. Now, for me, riding something for the first time, on something this big anyway, I like to follow somebody into a jump, just so I can like kind of model what they're doing, get the speed right and things like that. Now, that is going to be personal preference. Some people like to do things on their own. And also on something this big, when you're following someone, it's also very different than doing it on your own because of the drafting, the air density, a bike setup, the rider's weight. There's so many variables. But I personally like to follow somebody from a distance so I can kind of see what they're doing in the air. I can visualize myself following them. And that's how I personally like to do it. Now, when I hit this, I was spotting my landing when I was in the air. Now, you might be doing something a little bit smaller, so your time to spot your landing is going to be like a much smaller time. For this, when I'm in the air, I'm looking straight away, where's my landing spot, where do I want to aim for, because obviously we don't have one jump here, we have multiple jumps. So I want to be set up for the next jump in this line. When I'm like at the peak air time, the peak height of this guy is doing some crazy skid up the lift. When I'm at the peak of my air time here, I'm looking for my landing and getting ready and set up for that next feature. So I'm landing strong, I'm like keeping my body centered, and I'm just aiming for that landing.
Let me grab a breath. I'm standing on the second jump of this loose vest line. The thing is so wild, right? So one thing I teach my skills clinic students is the importance of centering. And when we're learning about our body positioning, the centering and the confidence and the mentality is kind of a puzzle to piece together. So as I came up to this jump yesterday, we rode this a little bit. I tried to practice what I preach, which was don't get timid, don't sink low, and then don't get backwards, because like I said earlier, that causes a lot of bucking motions, and a lot of people haven't connected this yet. A lot of people are flying over the handlebars. If you're a newer rider, a lot of times the positioning is bad. This is extremely important, especially when you're trying new things. I believe the confidence of, you've practiced your body positioning, you're not gonna get low and sink backwards, and you're gonna stand strong off of the jump, and you combine that with your vision. These are the puzzle pieces for situations like this, and all new situations of all different sizes. Something you can practice at home that I do with my skills students. So try doing a track stand or riding as slowly as you can. Notice where you're looking. You're probably looking down at your front wheel. Now try to change your viewpoint to a treetop or a mountaintop or a cloud, something that's gonna change the balance, right? This is a peripheral vision training drill that I utilize, and it applies everywhere. For instance, like Alex mentioned earlier, in the peak of the air time on this first jump, I am definitely spotting my landing, but as soon as I'm landing, my eyes are up. They're looking at the next feature, gauging the speed. Like Alex mentioned earlier, I also, at the peak of the air, I'm looking at where I'm gonna land, and that helps me land strong and confident, not kind of a slop out or get kind of weird. And then as soon as I'm on the ground, my eyes are up looking at this lip. And then as I'm approaching the jump, I'm even scanning where the landing is. So this peripheral vision training continued over time helps with your speed judgment, your confidence, your body positioning. And these, I believe, are some of the most crucial skills to work on for mountain biking.
Another thing here which I noticed, this is kind of my process of working through jumps when there's multiple jumps in a row. More often than not, I will never just go through a line in one go. There's a lot of people here who are so confident on these jumps, they've probably ridden them before actually as well, who will comfortably just do one, onto the next one, onto the next one, onto the next one. For me, I have to like do one jump, get my reps in, do the next jump, so like build things up and not get like over cocky or overconfident. So for these, for example, I started off by doing one feature like 2 or 3 times. Then I moved on to doing the first 2 features 2 or 3 times, and then I would be on to doing the third, like all 3 features as many times as possible, just so I can get comfortable on my bike, remove that uncertainty, and start feeling good on my bike. Because I have seen people have injuries and crash before because they've got overconfident and cocky and think, yeah, we can just do all this in one go because they're riding this high of doing something new. Obviously, everybody's different and everybody's riding different things. But that's how my mindset is approaching these things. So I've never been here before. This is all brand new to me. And these are some of the biggest jumps I've ever ridden. So this is all fresh. But I always stick to that methodology and thing. That's always been my method for doing new jumps, especially. Like do 1 feature, then do 2, then 3, and so on. You know what's mad about this? Like this is a landing. Look how far away I am from you, Ryan. Like I'm still going. Like how wide this is. And it all makes sense because of how fast you're going. Like if this was a narrow track, this would feel so out of control. But Nico, the trail builder who's built this incredible line, has made it so wide, so it almost feels safe for riders.
One other thing I want to talk about is learning how to identify safely built jumps versus janky built jumps, right? A lot of times I think people are getting kind of rowdy. Just, you know, if you haven't had a lot of riding experience, it takes a while to understand what's a nicely built jump. Also, tire pressure, right? I talked about the evenness of the bike, but if you're just going to be riding jumps, and especially new jumps, don't be afraid to up your tire pressure. That's going to help the stability. A lot of times I see riders hitting new jumps or features and they are flinging out kind of sideways. They don't understand what's happening, but the tire, the sidewall will roll out under pressure and then sling you to the side, right? So tire pressure is very important. Identify a good jump, have fun, be strong and confident.
And what sort of tire pressure are you running here?
Actually not as high as we would think because these jumps are built so well and they're so smooth. I'm imagining I'm probably at about 39, 38, well, between 38 and 40 PSI.
Yeah, but I guess that's kind of personal to everyone and what jumps you're hitting. But as a general rule of thumb, you could increase your tire pressure if it was just jumps you're working on and the terrain was decent. So that kind of wraps up our tips on hitting bigger jumps more confidently and improving your skill on a bike. Doesn't matter if you are at Loose Fest like this or just in your local bike park wanting to improve your jumping skill. These tips should be like fundamental and foundational to how you approach new features. Now, Ryan, my good friend, does have a bunch of skills clinics going on all the time in America, and you should go and check out his YouTube channel. This video will be on his YouTube channel actually, but there'll also be a QR code on the screen that you can scan to go and check out where his coaching is and any skills clinics he's got coming up. So go and check that out. And yeah, hope you enjoyed this one. Leave any comments below and we will both answer them and get back to you
Later on.